Hello friends, welcome to our very last reflection and meditation. So today is largely going to be a contemplative practice, but I want to do a little lead-in. So I'm still in Mexico City, and I am in front of this very quaint little chapel, St. Sebastian, on a street that's really set aside, all cobblestone, just for the centrality of the chapel. And it's got a really beautiful picture of the Holy Spirit over the doorway. And then if you are or have been Catholic and or are aware of exposition of the Eucharist, it's taking place right now. So we are into Holy Week here in Mexico City, and a lot happens in Holy Week. Statues are covered, prices for buses and metros are only 50 cents. People oftentimes take the week, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but there's still a lot of activity that's Holy Week centered that puts it first and foremost. And I am here in front of this little chapel that is so beautiful, and I thought it would be perfect for this contemplative practice. That is, if no one spots me and makes me move. I do see two people looking over this way, so if they interrupt this contemplative practice, I will resume it in a different location. So we're going to take the 7 last words today, and these are attributed to Jesus. And not surprisingly, let me be quiet because they're doing a procession right now. So it's interesting that each of these are a phrase, but they record it as a word, which I find pretty scintillating to consider that a phrase would be called a word because it's so potent. And in taking the 7 last words, if you were to look at it from an academic or scholarly or theological perspective, not all the words are in all 4 Gospels. In fact, they spread across the Gospels, and there is an ongoing discussion that holds it as possible that the words themselves weren't spoken by Jesus, other than the one phrase that's in Matthew and Mark. And that phrase is, my God, why have you forsaken me?" The reason that scholars and theologians believe that phrase is really reputable is that if they had included that phrase in the Gospels of the early church, it would have actually spoken badly about the ministry and who Jesus was. It would have discredited Jesus. So the fact that it's in those 2 Gospels, interestingly, right, is reason to believe that he probably really did say that. Now, all the other phrases, there's 3 in Luke and 3 in John, and none of the others are in Matthew or Mark. But you do get nuances of sentiments, like where John records Jesus saying, "I am thirsty." You get him being offered something terrible to drink in other Gospels, and also that he does take a little lick off of a sponge, that it's mainly vinegar. It's mainly made to make him suffer more, as far as we understand. So when you look at the words, you have to look at it almost from a redaction critical method. And redaction is a way of editing content for the sake of something. Now, in the Gospels, it's for the sake of a theological message. This doesn't make it, you shouldn't automatically say, oh, it's not true, because theologically speaking, the word could be true, right? So when we get Forgive them, they do not know what they do. The sentiment of Jesus, that may be very, very true, and I believe it's 100% true, even if historically we don't have somebody that was at the cross that actually wrote those words down and recorded what Jesus said. We don't know if we do or don't, but we don't have evidence either way. So redaction is for the sake of a message, but it doesn't make it necessarily right or necessarily wrong. What's interesting with redaction in the broader context is it's oftentimes used to obscure a meaning to keep something classified. But here, it's actually used to shine a light on the real meaning of something. So taking that in stride, what we're going to do is take each phrase in what is believed would have been the order of the phrases. That's a whole other discussion as to why you could believe they're in this order. And it would be a fun discussion, but that's not for this time. That's not what matters. So I'm going to place the phone. I'm going to be further away from you. And this practice is going to be one of spontaneous prayer and presence. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the word that is believed that Jesus said. Then I am going to offer spontaneous prayer that is inspired by that word. And then there's going to be space that where you are, you can offer spontaneous prayer and presence that's coming from the deeper meaning of that word. All right? Okay, good. So here we go. I'm going to put the phone right up here. Again, make sure it's stable so it's not going to fall off midway. There we go. You can see me enough. I don't need to be seen. I just need to be heard enough so you can participate. All right, I invite you to close your eyes. And if you can, with your senses or your imagination, or even just with your presence, place yourself, or rather, let the historical event of Jesus on the cross be part of your reality in some way. Let it be part of where you sit right now, or allow yourself to time travel and be back in the past, or allow yourself to be in the larger cosmic story where this story of Jesus is contained and immortalized. And we come here together, all of us that have been a part of this series. We join together in heart and soul. And the first word comes from Luke. Abba, Abba, forgive them. They do not know what they do. May we all be forgiven for the words and the actions, the thoughts, the unconscious movements that are rooted from our woundedness, that are impelled from the trauma that we carry. May we be forgiven, for we do not know what we do. May all and each one of us in humanity that enters into divisive stances that only reinforce division, may we be forgiven, for we do not know what we do. For all the times as humans that we are insensitive to the person that stands beside us, to the earth on which we live, to the inhabitants of this earth. And when we make choices that are insensitive to the well-being of all, may we be forgiven, for we do not know what we do. May all forms of ignorance, all thoughts that lead not to benevolence, all emotions that cause suffering, all inclinations towards separation instead of unity, may all of these, past, present, and future, may they be forgiven, may we be forgiven, for we do not know what we do. And you are invited to bring your presence and your prayer. The second word comes from Luke. Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise. May each one of us live in such a way that every person we encounter experiences paradise. May our lives be a balm to a humanity that is so wounded and still propelled by fear. May we today dwell in paradise. May the ways that we, through guilt and shame, separate away from ourselves and experience suffering, may we be relieved of these orientations and experience paradise today. May we hear the gentle word. hear the gentle words of the Beloved saying to our own souls, truly today, you are with me in paradise. May all those who are suffering and feeling alone in this world hear the touching words of the Beloved, that they are not alone. And I invite you to offer your own presence and prayer. Third word comes from John. Woman, here is your son. Son, here is your mother. May we awaken to be one family on this earth, caring for our brothers and sisters. May the divisions that lead to hate and violence be dissolved. May we as a humanity truly awaken to know that we are here together, and regard any form of separation as worthy of being healed and dissolved. I invite you to bring your prayer and your presence. The fourth word, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani. My God, why have you forsaken me? For all those who are leading lives of quiet desperation, for those whose hearts are crushed, for those who see no way forward and no way out, for those who have not been given the skills or knowing or support or grace to know how to navigate the dark waters that exist in this world. May they experience the light shining in their own darkness. May we not shy away from the wound that is the portal, but may we courageously open to the unhealed parts of ourselves, that love may cast out all fear. Prayer and presence. The fifth word from John. I am thirsty. May our thirst be quenched. May the thirst that drives humanity in directions that do not satisfy. May each one of us be given the gift to recognize that being thirsty for light and love, being thirsty for the divine, is part of the beauty of being alive, is our birthright, is worthy of respect and tenderness and care. And may we protect our sisters and brothers in their thirst. May we be solicitous to stand up for each other and to offer the words and the consolation that may quench the thirst. And may we receive these words and consolation ourselves. Your prayer and presence. The sixth word from John. It is finished. May we be given the grace to live our lives with such audacity that we, upon our dying breath, may say with completion, it is finished. May we leave no stone unturned in our search. May our compassion reach so far that nothing is untouched. May each interaction with every other human being, every event, every commitment, every experience, may we, upon that completion happening, have lived so transparently that we can say, it is complete. May we live without regret. Your prayer and presence. The seventh word from Luke. Abba, Mother, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. May the grace and the light and the love of the eternal flow within us to such a degree that we become the masters of our destiny. And may we find within that destiny the meaning and the purpose to serve the awakening of all, to celebrate, to see the beloved in all, to never return to blindness. Your prayer and presence. As we bring this contemplative practice to a close, I hope you can hear the devotional song that is being sung. And we bring this powerful contemplative practice to a close. Blessings, my friends.